Hi there, welcome friends, welcome to Homekeepers. Oh, I'm so glad you're there. Hope you'll join us, grab yourself a cup of tea, and we'll just have some girl talk here. Our guest is a girl, but before I tell you about her, I want to really welcome you. I realize every day that there are brand new viewers, and I can never ever forget our regular viewers, and I'd like to take just a second to say how much your emails mean to me. When you take time to let us know that the ministry is helpful to you. I got some this week. I might share them with you at some point that just, I almost cried. I was just so grateful knowing that God is in this. He's in this program. He's in the message that we try to get out. So we love you all, and I think you'll be glad you tuned in today. I have a return guest, Julie Woodley. She is the founder of Restore the Heart Ministries. And I might suggest get a Kleenex if you want to hear her story. It just breaks my heart. On the other hand, if there's ever a story that shows the absolute redeeming power of God's grace and love, it's in Julie Woodley. So you don't want to miss what she has to say. And we're going to do a slow cooker recipe today, and I like to get one out every once in a while to remind you ladies, especially if you have children or you're working and so forth, that a slow cooker can be a great blessing in your kitchen. And so we're going to do a recipe that is chicken and corn chowder, and it's got lots of vegetables and bacon and stuff in it, so I think you'll enjoy that. Before I join Stephanie over there, let me remind you that we are viewer supported, and many of you have been faithful through the years. And I'd just like to speak to those who you've had that impulse to give and to do something to help the ministry and you just haven't followed up. I ask you to do that today. You can do it two ways. If you use a credit card or debit card, you just call our number, 1-800-229-0059, and tell the friendly voice who answers the phone how much you would like to give, and they'll take care of that for you. Or if you write to us and you'd like to send a check, just send it to Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida, 33758, and we would appreciate it so very much. God loves a cheerful giver, for sure.
Yes.
How are you, sister?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I think the audience is just wanting to hear how the roof is. You're done with the roof.
The
now.
top of the roof. The top of the roof.
I mean,
is
you're
done.
done.
I am 100% done.
How long did it take?
4 months.
She and her husband on the roof.
You know, and we don't, you know, we work, so, and we have life, so we weren't able to work on it all the time, so it was 4 months sporadic.
And how much money did you save?
$4,000.
Well, aren't you glad?
Sure.
Glad you
Yeah, right now, yes. When I was up on the roof, no. When I was up on the roof, I'll pay somebody $4,000 to just come and do this.
Yeah, but now you're.
But now I'm happy.
You're $4,000 richer.
Yes.
How often do you use a slow cooker?
I used to use it all the time. A little, now that it's just Dave and I, it's a little bit less. But the summer's here, so I'll be using it more.
We've learned an awful lot from this girl since she's been on the show. It's been quite a while now. But
it's been years.
You're so organized the way you shop for groceries, and you still plan out a couple weeks ahead?
I do meal plans, and I do a shopping list, and I just try to stay very organized because then it's not so overwhelming.
Do you know, we had a guest on here who had written a book, but she called herself a home manager. You know, I kind of like that. It gave some importance. That's what. That's
it's
what
very
mothers
important.
Are.
It's so important to.
I wonder how much you save by
right.
doing that, by planning.
Oh, a lot. Because if you go into the store and just willy-nilly, you're coming out with a couple $100 worth of groceries. Yeah.
I go too often, you know, when I say I don't plan like that.
See, I don't want to go to the store all the time. I want to go once every 2 weeks. I want to have everything that I need. I sit at night and I go through my kitchen in my head and, you know, try to think of anything that I might possibly need. I put it on the list. I look for the coupons.
And There's probably no way to really know, but you save a lot of money.
I'm sure of it, yeah.
Okay, this one's finished.
Don't show it yet. That's the
Beautiful.
That's
Okay.
the finale. No.
Okay, what do you do?
Okay, so this is chicken thighs. Okay, well, we made some bacon. Okay,
Yeah,
you
these
made some
are
of the best bacon I've ever
all
seen.
crispy.
You cut it with scissors and you throw it in a pan and you just
And
let it cook
we let
low
it
and slow.
really get crispy.
Yep. So this is chicken thighs that are cut up.
And that's a cheaper cut of meat.
Yeah.
And it's tastier, to be honest.
Yes, it has more flavor to it. So we're just going to put some. We just cut them up in little pieces. So we're going to put that in there. And what I love about the slow cooker is you don't have to turn your oven on. It's hot in Florida. My air runs enough. I don't need it to run anymore. So I have
frozen.
This is frozen corn, but you can use frozen, you can use canned, you can use whatever you have. Fresh would be so amazing.
This is a chowder, and I used to go to New England quite a bit because I had relatives up there. And this lady would fish chowder outside by the beach.
Oh, this is celery.
Celery.
And onions. And carrots that are chopped up.
Yep. And that's garlic, I'm sure.
Yep, we have potatoes.
Red potatoes, keep the skins on them.
Yes, that's where all the nutrients are. We have garlic.
Now, every once in a while make a big pot of soup and I put it in glass jars and freeze it. You could probably do this.
Oh,
with
yes,
this.
for sure.
So, make a big amount.
Yep, this is thyme and oregano. And then I'm going to put 4 cups of chicken broth.
I think that is 4 cups.
Yep. And if you were our Susan, our wonderful Susan, you could put vegetable broth and don't put the chicken. And you could
Or the bacon.
Well, the bacon's for the top. So
Yeah.
she would never do that. So then you just put the lid on this, let it cook for 7 to 8 hours on low. Well, it says, on low for 7 to 8 or high 3 to 4. And that was on high for probably about, what, 4 or 5 hours?
And God bless whoever invented
then,
these.
right, 30 minutes before you're going to serve it, you take cornstarch and you take some half and half and you whisk it together and you do 2 tablespoons of butter and you put it in there and put it back on high and let it thicken up.
And look at that, my friends.
That'll all be in the, we're not doing it, but it'll all be in the recipe.
Yeah.
I don't know where my lid is.
Your lid? Oh, well, and you put a little of this.
A little bacon.
And that's...
a little chive. You come home, your dinner is all done for you.
This is a dinner. There you go.
That's
you got, okay, we all got a spoon.
How many's here?
I got a spoon, you got a spoon, all God's
We
children
have
got
8 minutes
spoons.
left.
No.
That's the longest cooking segment ever. No.
Well, the beautiful thing is the flavor you get when it's really hung out that long. Like that, huh?
I didn't think I was going to really like it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is delicious.
That's a meal, friends.
Let's turn that off.
So,
Oh my gosh, you
want it,
want this one.
it's the slow cooker chicken and corn chowder. And we'll be glad to send it out. You email or write to us. Now, if you haven't met Julie Woodley, you're going to love her. She was here a few days ago and we sat down and talked. This is our conversation.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, just write to the address on your screen, or you can email your request to arthelene@rippy.org.
Julie, it's awfully nice to have you back.
Yes, wonderful.
I do want you to give, a capsule size of your testimony, but before that, your life is never dull, is it?
No, it's not. Yeah.
You were telling me you had, not too long ago, brain surgery.
Yes, in January.
How long ago was that?
In January 15th,
4 months ago.
4 months ago, yes,
Doesn't that just scare you to death?
Well, I knew that am in the best hands because I'm in God's hands, and I had a great surgeon, and he said, we're going to take great care of you, and I really trusted him, and he did. God did an amazing job in this surgery.
And one other little piece of this, you said that your forehead had quite a scar.
Yes,
And it's already gone.
Yes, they told me I'd have a scar for probably about a year, and it was right here because the surgery was right here. But yes, and I was going to be on the road doing some television work and doing some work with Dr. James Dobson, and people all around the country put me on a prayer call, and I had a bandage there, and when I took it off, it's like, it's gone.
I'm telling you, your life is never dull. That is wonderful, and only the Lord can do that.
Yes.
Speed up that kind of healing. Okay, tell us your story again. There were abortions and abuse. Just describe how long did the abuse go on and the way it really shaped your life.
Yes, and it did shape my life. But, you know, sometimes we can take a shaping and turn it to bad, but God turned it to good.
Yes, he did.
And yes, I was sexually abused in the mountains of Montana. And I also became quite promiscuous and was really kind of a commodity for men to use.
How old were you when the abuse started?
With my father, the abuse started before kindergarten, so my earliest memory is being sexually abused by him. And then he would then brought other men into the picture. When I was around 6 years old, he would bring other men, the neighbor and other people into the picture. So it was very, very confusing as a little girl.
Well, did any of these people ever go to jail?
I don't know. I don't know. You know, I couldn't talk about it, of course.
Right.
Right.
There's an absolute grooming
Yes.
of
Yeah.
little girls and fear, and they're going to kill your family or they're going to do this. And so they really do live a life of silence.
Yes.
How old were you when you broke away from it?
I left at 18 after an abortion, and I don't know if that was abortion was from my father, from other men that came in to have sex with me, but I left at 18. The day after I graduated from high school, I didn't tell anybody and got on a train and left, and knew I couldn't go back, knew I had to really save my life. It broke my heart to leave. That's all I knew, but I knew I had to leave.
Did you go to school, and anybody looking from the outside would say you were living a normal life?
Yes, because I certainly couldn't tell anybody in school. I tried once, and it backfired on me, and my father heard about it, and so no, I couldn't tell anyone. And I went to school. Actually, I think I got the award for never missing school because it was once safe. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really the prototype, isn't it? I had this question for later in the interview, but in speaking of other situations where, and we'll bring the audience up to date on this, on what you're really doing to help heal these people of abuse and all. But they always wonder, why don't they escape?
Yes, that's a great question. You're trapped. I mean, I had nowhere to go, and I couldn't tell anybody because I knew, honestly, my life was in jeopardy. My father would, he would threaten me with guns if I told anyone, and so I was absolutely trapped in every way.
And at point after all this, well, while it was going on, while you were a young girl, was there any religion in your home? Was there any church or anything?
Great question. I was raised Catholic, and we devoutly went to church and always had to put a smile on our face when we walked in the door. But it was confusing for me because it was in Latin.
Oh.
And so I would just beg.
Didn't help that much.
It did not help. I didn't understand. I wanted to understand, but I didn't.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
I had one brother, yes.
And so, as far as you know, he was not abused.
Yes, he was abused.
He was abused.
Yes, he was, and I was younger than him, but I was kind of his protector. I would try to get my father off of him, and we had this dog named Pal, and I would send the dog in because the dog Pal would try to bite his heels when he was abusing.
Is your father still living?
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Now, what point did you find Jesus? Because that's the only reason you're sitting there in your right mind.
Absolutely, yes. After I left home, I pretty much hit the road as a prostitute in many ways, which is very typical of those who have been so severely. That's all we know. So about 5 years, I lived a really rough life, and drugs, alcohol, another abortion. It was a night, actually, when I was going to take my life. I had a bottle of pills. I was ready to commit suicide. I didn't have a man that night. I didn't have a bottle, and I hit my pain. And that night, I had it all planned out. And that night, I cried and cried and cried myself to sleep. Or first, I threw the pills away. And when I threw those pills away, I just said, God, help me. Because deep down, I didn't want to die. So then I fell back on my bed, fell asleep. And in the middle of the night, when I was sound asleep, I heard a voice. And the voice said, Julie, I love you. And I wasn't a schizophrenic. I'd never heard voices before, but that love of God just ran right through me, and it ran right through me, and the voice got so loud it woke me up, and it said, Julie, I love you. And I just felt all this hot love, and I knew more than anything in the world that voice was true.
And all you did was, oh God.
All I said was, oh God, help me.
And see, there's no doubt, because anybody looking at you sees joy. They see some real happiness. And, you know, to top it all off with a brain tumor, and you're still smiling and joyful. And the Lord doesn't waste these horrendous experiences.
No.
I'm so mad at your father, you know, I just, well.
And my mother for not protecting me. But you're right, it's like the deeper the pain goes, I'm just going to be honest, the deeper still the joy goes. And
it's
the love
obvious
of God.
on your face. It's very obvious.
Thank you. Yes.
And you recently were with James Dobson talking about the ministry that you founded. It's called Restoring the Heart Ministries, and we'll get that website up on the screen. But also, tell us what you're doing right now, which is a really big, giant step that I have no doubt will heal a lot of girls that have had your experiences.
Yes, thank you. I'm a trauma therapist, and I'm a filmmaker. And I have a degree in mental health counseling, and then about 2 classes left for a master's in theology. But I love to put healing on film, and I've created 2 programs, one called In the Wildflowers for women and men to heal that have been sexually abused, and it's around the country and other country. And then another film I created was called Into My Arms, which is for the healing after abortion wounds. So those worked, and it was so exciting to see people heal. So I thought, why not take the healing that I have had after being sexually trafficked, which I was as a young girl, and bring that healing to film and help other people come around and heal from their traumatic wounds after being trafficked.
Yeah, and I hope our viewers can grasp how important this is. With technology, you can reach thousands, where if you traveled from church to church or place to place, you wouldn't get a whole lot done in a year.
Yes.
And if you'll think of it this way, these churches are never going to have Joyce Meyer in their pulpit, or Beth Moore, or some of these great women speakers.
Yes.
But they can have them through DVDs and all kinds of technology. Well, this is the same thing.
Yes.
Only it's designed to heal.
Yes.
Because these girls, these young people, are not going to just get over it.
Right, yep, yes. Girls and men as well. They're not just going to get over it, and it's very typical that those of us who have been traumatized to go back into the chaotic cycle. And so if we can, like you said, create film, and I have the best filmmakers in the country. David Nixon, he produced Fireproof, Facing the Giants, these wonderful films. He's come around me, and we're so excited to tape 8 women and 2 men to tell their story and to watch them heal, bring in the top psychologists, trauma psychologists, and theologians, put it into film, and then send it global. Our prayer is to have it with funding, of course. In fact, we'd love for people to consider helping give to this project, but then we would love to translate it into different languages so it can be a global healing.
Well, it's needed.
Yes.
Human trafficking is not just in the United States, and some of the most horrendous things you hear about are around the world and in the Middle East.
Yes.
And, I mean, they're selling little girls, selling them on
Yes.
an auction block.
Right.
Another thing about the, maybe you've already answered about somebody that's being trafficked, and basically you were, basically. And that is, they're living normal lives. They're maybe got a little job or they're going to school. How could we recognize one and help them?
Well, I think, you know, just to really begin to love people wherever you're at, and to begin to see if there's some issues. Maybe they're having a hard time making eye contact. Maybe they're reluctant to get close to you. You know, there's many ways that you can recognize it, but really it's really God's discernment when you see someone that is being trafficked or sexually abused. You know, I don't want to forget the 1 out of every 3 women and 1 out of every 6 men in this country that have been sexually abused. Yes, it's important to create this curriculum for those who have been trafficked, but there's so many people that are still so wounded and been sexually abused. And I just want you to know that this dear woman right here in Tampa has given me well, not given me, but she is lending me her beautiful facility, Shiloh Farms, to do healing right here in Tampa. And so if you've been wounded, been sexually abused, or have been trafficked, we would love to come around you and help you heal from these traumatic wounds.
Yeah, and we've had your website up, and they can go there. And there's an organization or a business, something that helps you out. That's Timberline.
Timberline Knowles is, yes, it's in outside of Chicago, and they work with women 12 on up and really help them walk through their addictions, the healing of trauma, co-occurring disorders. So it's a great place to really send women that really need further healing from these traumatic wounds.
And I think the fact that these people need help, they need spiritual direction, and it's a great bonus if it comes from somebody who's been there.
Yes, yes.
And someone who has been healed. Do you feel that the night that Jesus spoke to you, that it was such a powerful thing that the healing was right there, and you maybe had to walk a few things out?
Yes, yes. You got it exactly. The healing was right there. I just did. God led me to a 180-degree turn. And really, He taught me how to listen to Him. I have been desperate to listen to the voice of my Father and the love that He pours into me. And no matter what I'm in, I've had, I think I told you, 2 cases of cancer. This is my 2nd head injury. And whatever you're in, no matter what you're in, God wants to speak to you, bring you love, and bring you incredible healing. It's true. And He longs to just be with you, make you whole, and send you out to help others.
What are some of the, some feedback you've gotten, you know, from your, is it Into My Arms? That's the abortion?
The one on the post-abortion is Into My Arms, yes, yes.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from that?
Well, because the program Into My Arms, the one on the healing after abortion wounds, is written by a therapist. I'm a therapist. It's the only program that's a film that's written by a therapist, because we go deep into the woundiness, because post-abortion trauma is very complex trauma, and it can't be, it is handled by just regular trauma healing, but it's got some complexities.
You can't put a Band-Aid on it.
You can't put a Band-Aid on it. And because you can go deep into your healing, not just from post-abortion, but from other ways that you've been wounded, it's really beginning to heal the whole of who we are. Yeah.
We're getting close to running out of time. What about the men? Do you deal with those who, you know, really took their girlfriend to the abortion clinic, and even parents?
Yes, absolutely.
And there's a backlash for that. I don't do that, because it's going to get you.
That's exactly right. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. It's so important to be able to reach out to the men, because, you know, like I said, 1 out of every 3 women has had an abortion. That means 1 out of every 3, you know, abortions. Said there was a man that participated in that.
A child.
A lost child. And it's really wounded his idea of fatherhood. And there's so many ways that men also need to heal from post-abortion trauma.
I'm telling you, you are a trophy of God's grace.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
kind of sitting here speechless for all you've been through, but we need these illustrations like you, where God took you from the dregs, from the bottom of the pit, and made you, and you have 4 children.
I have 4 incredible children, yes, and they're very successful and Christians, and they're just awesome. And now I have 4 grandchildren with another one on the way, yes.
Only God can do that. I just am so thankful that He brought you to Homekeepers, and please know you always have an invitation here.
Oh, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. It's just an honor for me to be able to take all this love and joy and to be able to show other people that it's for them too. The love of God is for you too. And thank you for your beautiful presence.
Absolutely, absolutely. You stay with me. I have a couple things to say before we have to say goodbye.
Arthelene would like you to keep the following information handy. You may contact Homekeepers by writing to Homekeepers, P.O. Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758, or go to www.rippy.org. Remember, we always enjoy hearing from our viewers, and we thank you for your support.
Wow, what a ministry. And we've had more than one on the program dealing with human trafficking, and then we realize what's going on around the world, especially in the Middle East, how women are absolutely brutalized, little girls are sold to be wives and all. And to be able to bring a guest on the Homekeepers like Julie, because as she told her story, it kind of almost makes your skin crawl, and then you think, here sits somebody so triumphant, so victorious. Only God could make that happen, friends. And I realize every time I'm in front of this camera that I'm just talking to people from every walk of life. And no doubt there were many of you who were just kind of identifying with Julie and her life. But you could never, ever doubt the joy and the excitement in her face and in her voice and in her life. Only God could do that, my friend. Coming from just the dregs of society that she came from, only God could take something that broken, that bad, that awful, and put it together in something so beneficial. And if you think of her, please pray for her, because she's going into that heavy enemy territory where Satan would like to get every woman. But she's very triumphant because of Jesus and what He did for us on the cross. Don't ever forget that, my friends. And I hope you will plan to join us next time, remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.